him out for?
Something to the dog.
Kick the dog.
Oh. That's horrible.
Oh. Dog's gonna bark. Jesus. He doesn't realize the dog's gonna bark.
No, it wasn't that. Trust me.
I heard him say he was gonna kick somebody.
Yeah, him. Not me.
He's just being a dog. Jesus.
sounds like, and this is what it feels like when we take on the establishment. There are a lot of people in this country who see there being a constant conflict between Democrats and Republicans.
Are you with Politico? Is that it?
No, I'm not with anyone.
But I
There's a
wanted to
lot
talk
more
to the
to
trip because I
the
don't
statement.
want my
That there is a
picture
grand conflict between the
I'm not here
Washington,
for
D.C.
attention.
political establishment
the trip?
and the American
Got it,
people.
you're on.
And we will stand with the people.
Channel 13.
What's the backlash going to be?
It won't be that much.
Backlash? I don't think so.
It's always hard to say, but not many
You know, a
people
few
watch
months
TV
ago,
on a Saturday.
Our
It's only if someone
president
notices you on Facebook
in
and
early
posts a
July
link to that
he was going to
on your
change
profile.
Obamacare, that he was going to rewrite Obamacare, that he was going to rewrite it
No
in
one
his
pays
own
attention
image.
on Saturday.
That he was going
you
to
can
implement
delete
it in
it,
the
too.
fashion that he
Yeah.
deemed fit.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I
He
wanted,
said, you know,
I talked to Five and I was like, listen,
let big
I don't
businesses
want,
off the
I've
hooks
got
and not
a very,
enforce the
very
employer mandate, but
conservative
we're still going to hold
Republican
hardworking Americans to task.
who will totally.
Does he have the power to do that? I didn't think so.
But at least I didn't use my married last name.
And it occurred to me, you know, there's just
I
one
just
way to
used
stop
my
this.
maiden-
We can't challenge him in court. There's not time. I'm not even sure that that would
At
work.
least
you think they
given
could
the fact
spell
that
the
Supreme Court
defense
already
right.
rewrote Obamacare twice in order to save it.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Said,
The majority
there
of
is
the
one
people
power that Congress
support
has.
this guy
One
come
power that
from
it still
predominantly
generally
white, which
jealously
usually
guards.
is,
Yeah.
uneducated.
One power that James Madison recognized in
Racist
Federalist 58 was one that
areas.
Congress could use
And they
to
raise
keep
scouts
the
that push
government
over
intact, and
Goblin
that's the
Valley
spending power.
boulders.
And I said,
Yeah, they
President
do.
Obama's not going to follow the law. If he says the law is not
And
ready
they're
to
like,
implement,
woohoo, God,
we are
let's do
not
it.
going to
Sure.
fund it.
Here's Here's the funny thing. That guy that pushed that boulder over, he has a lawsuit pending that's probably going to get dismissed because he's supposed
So
to
I
be
made a
injured
statement that at the time
from this
I didn't regard
accident
as
or
Yeah.
whatever it was that
I said,
happened.
Yeah,
I
in
will not vote
Alpine,
for any
Alpine,
funding
yeah.
guys like
continuing
his
resolution, any spending
daughter
bill
hit him.
Daughter or something.
contains funding for the further
Not all the details that come out.
I believe in karma.
Obamacare.
Fight you real hard.
Now, some people criticize me for that.
I go.
Have fun.
Some people
Which
called that
football game?
radical.
That's over here.
High school?
I said, this is exactly
No, my
what I
son
promised
is
to
a
do,
PB.
and I'm
He
just
plays-
keeping my
Oh,
promise to
okay.
my voters in Utah.
Over here somewhere. There are a few people of color here.
After all, isn't that what we're supposed to do, is keep the promises we make to voters? After all, isn't that what we're supposed to do, to stand up for our rights, for your rights under the U.S. Constitution? Now, let me ask you a question. Do Washington, D.C. bureaucrats know how to make decisions for your health and that of your family? Are they in a better position to make those decisions than you are? Are we going to let them take over 1/6 of our nation's health care without sounding so much as a whimper? Then join with me in this effort. Join with me in our ongoing effort to restore constitutionally limited government, to make sure that we have government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We live in difficult times, challenging times, times that cause us to question a lot of what's going on around us. But you know, as I look to the future, I see that it's morning again in America. It's morning again in America because the American people are standing up and they're recognizing that this is their government. It does not belong to Washington. It belongs to us. This land, the land of the United States of America, is a land that was meant to be occupied by free men and women, and we will stand free. We will stand together. We will defend each other's rights. will stand up for each other's rights from all enemies of freedom, foreign and domestic. You know, we became a nation a couple hundred years ago. We became a nation at a time when we recognized that it was important for us to come together and recognize that our previous national government based in London was treating us oppressively. It was taxing us too much. It was regulating us too heavily. It was so distant from the people that it was far from them, and it was slow to respond to their needs. So we put together a limited purpose national government, one with just a few basic responsibilities. It'd be in charge of providing for our national defense, regulating trade or commerce between the states and with foreign nations, establishing a uniform system of weights and measures, protecting trademarks, copyrights, and patents, and just a few other basic things. By the way, was commandeering our nation's healthcare system on that list? No, it wasn't. So we started a protest effort that manifested itself on a large scale for the first time in 1773 in Boston. Boston, yeah, good fly over here. Let's salute those geese. But you know, it took us 14 years to get from Boston in 1773 to Philadelphia in 1787, where we identified the kind of government that we wanted. We went from protesting against the kind of national government we did not want to embracing the kind of national government we did want. And in many respects, we can still look to that same document today, the United States Constitution, as identifying the kind of constitution, the kind of government we want. We understand that for more than 2 centuries, that document, written by the hands of wise men, raised up by the Almighty to protect freedom in America, is still intact, and we need to follow it. We recognize the fact that that document has created the ultimate opportunity society, a society that for more than 2 centuries has been second to none in terms of giving men and women from any station, regardless of whether they were rich or poor at their birth, they had the opportunity to start climbing their way up that economic ladder. And what we've seen is that as more power is consolidated in Washington, as we neglect that document, climbing up that ladder of opportunity becomes more and more difficult. Well, we've got to turn that around. We've got to embrace the same principles that have made this the land that is for freedom and for opportunity for people of all stations in life. We've got to restore the prosperity that comes only through this opportunity society, this opportunity economy, that can exist only where we have a federal government that respects the right of the people to live free and to govern themselves at the most local level possible. So in addition to the ongoing fight against Obamacare, which is ongoing, we're moving forward with a proactive agenda, a pro-growth, pro-opportunity agenda, one that will benefit people at every end of the economic spectrum, especially those at the bottom end of the economic ladder who are just trying to make their way up, and those in the middle who are in a precarious position and find themselves facing increasing uncertainty. When we look to limit government, when we look for ways to make government less oppressive, we make government more conducive to liberty and to prosperity and to economic opportunity for every single American. Now, this fight won't be easy. This effort, like every effort that's important, will never be easy. But I think we're up to the task, And when I look out at this crowd today, I know we're up to the task. I know we're ready to stand together, not just to fight against Obamacare, but also to fight for a reformed tax code, one that respects the middle class. One that tries to correct against the unfair penalties imposed by hardworking families and parents. One that eases regulatory burdens to make it easier and more affordable for people to get a higher education. One that makes it more possible for your hard-earned tax dollars to be spent more locally so that they benefit you right here at home rather than somewhere else. This effort is grueling, but it's worth it. A few weeks ago, as I was standing on the Senate floor with my friend Ted Cruz, you know, up until about 2 a.m. it was pretty easy because we found ourselves just having a great time. Everybody else left us by about 11 or 12 o'clock at night. By 2 a.m. we were getting a little hazy. And so I said, Ted, we're going to have to shake things up a little bit. You know, we're going to have to spice it up a little bit. And so I pulled out my Constitution. So for the next 4 hours, Ted and I regaled the entire country. I'm sure everybody was sitting on the edges of their seats. To a lengthy discussion of the Commerce Clause, and of the Spending Clause, and the Privileges and Immunities Clause. Did you find that riveting? You know, what I found so amazing and so encouraging was that throughout the night I continued to get text messages and tweets from you, from people right here in Utah who are still awake. You stayed awake with us all night. Thank you. By the time it got to be about 6 in the morning, I got a different set of text messages. Some of them started saying, Mike, you look a little bit tired. That's when I turned to my friend Ted, and I said, Ted, this is what it feels like to take on the establishment. And it feels good. There was a time not too long ago when the American people had only a few channels. All the information they could get about Washington, D.C. and what goes on there came from 3 or 4 networks, all with letters in them. The New York Times and the Washington Post, that was about it.
Yeah.
But things have changed. Things have changed. We've got that one too, don't we? And sometimes they join in with the others, don't they? But you know, we've got something new. Never in the history of the world has it been so easy or inexpensive for so few people with so little money to communicate to so many. And you're doing it, and I applaud you for doing it, and I ask you to keep on doing it. does when the Washington, D.C. establishment tries to team up with the media establishment and tell you how to vote, is that a good thing? We've got to remind ourselves that we decide. We decide, and we help our friends and our neighbors decide by sharing information. We do that online. We do that with Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. We do that by talking to our coworkers and our aunts and our uncles and our cousins. You know, we have a lot of them in Utah. Anytime I see a gathering about this size in Washington, D.C., I tell my friends out there, you know, this is just kind of like a family reunion back home. That is in a family with infertility problems. We can do this. We can do it, but we've got to team together. We've got to create a national dialogue and a dialogue within the state. A dialogue that talks about the virtues of limited government, that explains to people that when government expands, it does so at the expense of the people. Which people? Well, especially at the expense of the poor and the middle class. Are we going to allow that to continue to happen? I ask you, how many more Americans will have to lose their jobs, or lose their health care, or have their wages cut, or their hours slashed before we do something to protect them from their own government? We've got to act now, and together we can. We can, and we must, and we will. And I invite all within the sound of my voice to join me in this effort, this noble effort, to restore constitutionally limited government. Together we will. Thank you very much. I love you. Thank you, Utah. This is my wife, Sharon. Give her a round of applause.
The media told us that Utahns had turned their back on Mike, but we are here to prove that Utah embraces Mike with open arms. When we planned this event, we had an outpouring of people who came and said, I want to show Mike Lee my support. So we have a few of those people that contacted us, and Senator Lee, if you don't mind, they just want to say who they are, where they're from, and frankly, why they like Mike. And I think we're going to start over here on the page. Before we go too far, David Kirkham, he's one that wants to tell you why he likes Mike.
You know, a long time ago, I was a missionary in Peru, and I remember they had to sharpen a needle on a stone to stick it into my arm. I had typhoid. Well, about 20 years later, I woke up in a Polish hospital. I had blood poisoning. I was in these really grimy walls. And unfortunately, about 2 weeks ago, I was very fortunate to wake up in a hospital in Provo, Utah. I had a heart attack. Thank God Obamacare was not in place. Mike, thank you. This is awesome. I can't tell you how horrible it is in some of these other socialist countries. But thank you, Mike, for fighting. Thank you for your most gracious phone call. Thank you for all that you do. We love you.
Notice all those guys that are trespassing now? The president said that they're trespassers. Is that what he said? Those guys in wheelchairs.
My name is Joe Patismanu, and I'm from San Jose. I'm just the average regular Joe. But like you, I'm a God-fearing patriot. I care about this country. I wanted to say thank you for standing up for the Constitution and for conservative principles. We're losing that right now. It's hard to do that, and I'm glad you're doing it. It's unpopular.
He wants to hand it to him? Yeah.
There's a lot to be said when every Republican says they will stop Obamacare, and yet you're one of the few that publicly does. My young family has a motto: God, family, and Mike Lee. But the third is freedom. And we've got to remember, freedom is not free. We've got to be willing to sacrifice our lives, our fortune, and if needs be, our sacred honor. And that's what you're doing. Thank you.
Before the next person comes, one thing real quick. Can I get a picture with you, me, and that crowd?
I forgot to mention one thing. We happen to have the best state party Republican chair in the entire country, James Evans. He's been supportive through all this. I'd ask you to all join with me in giving him a big round of applause.
Thank you, Mike. A couple points I want to make. That if you notice, all of the ideas come from Republicans. We're the ones that are willing to debate, disagree, but out of that we come up with better solutions. So the Utah Republican Party will always support its Republican elected officials, and the Republican elected officials, if you want to fight with each other, go right ahead. But we're always going to be there because we know that Republican principles, as our senator has espoused, brings about a better America, and we're all for a better America, so we're all for Mike Lee.
You know our name? Yeah, I understood she put on the rally. I thought
My name is Chris Weidman. I'm also from Taylorsville, and I'm honored to be standing here with you today in support of our great senator and for constitutional government and the rights of the individual. I appreciate the hard work that our senator puts in, fighting for limited government and for our individual rights. So I, like you, want to thank Mike Lee and let the media know that we support those who support our individual rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So thank you, Mike Lee.
Hey, Senators. My name's Candace Backus. I'm the president of College Republicans at Utah Valley University. I actually had a chance to intern for Senator Lee back in Washington, D.C., and one of my roommates got to meet her senator the last day of her internship, and from day one, I got to work one-on-one with Senator Lee. He's down-to-earth, a constitutional scholar, and we just really appreciate you, and I want to represent the younger generation saying, heck yes, thank you, you've done a great job.
Good afternoon. My name is Sione Tavake. I'm from Draper, business owner. I just wanted to take the time again to represent and say thank you very much to Senator Lee for standing in the gap and being able to be honorable and stand for the rights of our people here of Utah. Sorry, a little scared up here, but let me just say a couple of things. First of all, we have to step together as a group of people and truly work out the caucus system. That is what we the people is all about. Okay? Secondly to that, it's not enough just to vote. You have to step out and participate. It is about we the people. Someone once said that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. We need to take that power back. Power is with the people. And Mike knows that, and that's why we support him. Thank you very much. Who's next?
Good morning. My name's Jason Overstreet. This is Matt Shea, and this is David Taylor. And we heard there was going to be a conservative in Utah this morning, and so we got on a plane and we flew out here. We love Mike Lee, and we will speak the praises of Mike Lee in the Washington State Legislature, where we serve to fight the same battles as your senator from Utah. interesting? Isn't it interesting? Then that when a candidate stands up and tells you exactly what they're going to do, he carries the Constitution. He says, this is the document that I live by in the political world. And then he goes to D.C. and does it, that he's demonized. You know what? You have a United States Senator who told you exactly what you were going to do, what he was going to do. He went to D.C. and did it. May God... Who's here today to stand with Mike Lee? I'll close with this. May God continue to give Mike Lee the wisdom to speak, the strength to stand, and the perseverance to continue on in D.C. Thank you.
My name is Matt Shea. I'm a state representative from Spokane Valley, Washington. I'm also a combat veteran, and I like Mike Lee. Leadership is not the ability to compromise, it's the ability not to. It's the ability to stand for principle. And Mike Lee doesn't just represent Utah, he represents all Americans who love freedom and liberty. So Mike, I want to thank you for everything you're doing to ensure that our kids and our grandkids can live in peace and prosperity and freedom. And Mike, may God bless you as you've blessed us and our great country, because our hope is not in President Obama, our hope is in Jesus Christ. Amen.
Well, hey, Utah, Dave Taylor from Washington State. Folks, I can tell you from experience, it can get lonely when you stand on your principles and your conservative values. We made a decision to come to Utah, say hi to Mike, to let him know we're standing there with him. Folks, thank you for being here. God bless all of you. Senator, God bless you.
Who says I don't have friends in Washington, huh?
My name is Marcus Jessup. I live in Utah County. Mike has a special place in my heart. I actually worked on his 2010 campaign. I'm so grateful to support Mike Lee. I got involved initially because he's limited government domestically, limited government internationally, and I love his message. Thank you, Mike, and continue the good fight. Thank you.
My name is Ron Torres. I'm from Centerville, Utah. I've had an entire career of medical research, and I now have 10 grandchildren. And we don't want to see our grandchildren living under what Obama is building. But we must remember one thing: Obamacare is only the intermediate. The final step is what they call single payer. And they're disguising it. Single payer is government socialized health care, where you have no rights. So thank you, Mike, for fighting it.
Thank you, Mike. We've got a few more people who want to say something to you. Your name and what would you like to say to the senator?
Hi, I'm Suzanne Millet, and I want to thank you, Mike, for everything that you're doing. I'm a first-generation rabid American patriot. Thank you for everything you're doing. And I want to thank you, Sharon, for supporting your husband, because behind every great man is a great woman.
Go ahead. What's your name? What would you like to say to the senator?
I'm Kim Weiss from Box Elder County, and I want to let Mike Lee know that Box Elder County supports you. 3 years ago today, we elected Senator Mike Lee, and he has stood up to every promise that he has made in his campaign. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead, you'd like to say something to the senator.
Yes, I'm Doran Barton from Harriman, and I think Representative Ivory said everything I was going to say. We've got a disease in this country, and that is overspending. We're spending ourselves into oblivion. We've got over $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities, and the only way we're going to fix that is by stop spending. So thank you, Mike Lee.
You'd like to say something to the senator. What's your name?
My name's Dana Layton. I'm a first-term state legislator. I'm a mother of 5 and a small business owner. And I am here to say that the pressure as a freshman to keep your head down and go with the program is real. It's real at the state level, and I'm sure it's a lot more intense at the federal level. So I'm here to say that one could argue that against Mike's strategy or tactics, but one cannot argue against the fact that Mike is a true patriot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.